Awesome.
You have one in the waiting room.
Oh, okay.
Well, there we go.
Oh, maybe that's him.
Perfect timing. Gary in.
Gary.
Okay.
Hey, Gary, can you just confirm you can hear us?
His microphone is connecting.
Yep.
I'll certainly know. Which one says rename? There we go. I think it's MICHAELS. There we go.
Hey, should we get started?
Yes, we're recording.
Okay, so I'd like to call the December 13th, 2021 special meeting of the Inland Wetlands Commission to order. The time now is 7:04. This meeting is being held in meeting room D of the Bethel Municipal Center and is being video recorded via Zoom as well. Let's start by introductions. I am Patrick Parafort, currently secretary. Yep. Why don't we just start from down there? We're going over, sorry.
Laura Ferguson, Commissioner.
Pat Sell, alternate commissioner.
Greg Johnston, Commissioner.
Danielle Monroe, alternate.
And Dave McCollum, Inland Wetlands Agent.
Mary Churchill, recording secretary.
Oh, well, I actually spoke out of turn. Nico is out in cyberspace.
Yep. Nico, you want to introduce yourself on Zoom over there?
Oop, we lost.
Might have lost Nico. And Gary, you want to introduce yourself?
He's not with the Inland Wetlands.
Oh,
He's
okay,
here for
I'm
the
sorry.
applicant.
Oh,
It's okay.
all right, sorry about that. All right, so I'm going by the little cheat sheet they've made for me. So first thing on the agenda tonight, I believe, is election of officers.
That's correct.
Okay. So we have to elect commissioner, co-commissioner, and secretary. So let's start with commissioner. Any nominations for commissioner?
That's chair.
Chair, sorry.
Just for some context, for the new members, for you out in cyberspace, Nico, and for those who haven't gone through this process before, the executive board, which is the chair, vice chair, and secretary that Pat had just mentioned, they're the three members that run the Inland Wetlands Commission during the regular meetings or the special meetings like we're having tonight. It's limited to those members that have full membership. So that would be three of the members that we have here in attendance tonight, and then that would also include Nico and Kevin Seaman, although I don't think he's in attendance tonight unless he hops on. My recommendation to you all as commissioners would be, I would recommend that you weigh a commissioner's experience, whether they have previously served on the executive board, such as Patrick has, or as another token, how long a commissioner has been serving. Some of the commissioners on this board have been with us for multiple terms now. Some of them, I think, just got reelected this past November. And another thing that you want to be cognizant of is their ability to attend meetings. It doesn't do any good to have a member of the executive board that can't be present, that can't be there to run a meeting as they should. They're a voice that should be consistent and one that you all can depend on. I have no say in who gets elected amongst you guys for these positions. That discussion comes amongst yourselves, and full members, that is. So with that being said, as Pat mentioned, the floor is open for nominations for chair.
I nominate Patrick for chairman.
I second.
I would say that nomination would work, but it's for full members to
Okay.
make nominations.
All right.
So if we
So-
want to
Being our
amend
senior, being our senior member,
Should skip more meetings.
I think the obvious choice would be, to nominate Pat Herford.
and we would need a second for that.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I did.
That was Laura.
Laura.
So now Pat kills us and
So,
Any discussion? Nico, you're getting all of this, right?
Can I second? Yeah, yep, 4.
Okay, well, just feel free to weigh in as as you are also a full member for what I understand.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful.
So right now, for,
so do we vote individually on each one or?
yes, so the full members will go through for each position.
Okay.
And that we would have to repeat that for all three,
All right, so all in favor of making me commissioner,
or chair.
chair, sorry, in 4 years, I'll remember this,
I,
Aye.
Aye.
okay? Next would be co-chair,
Vice chair.
vice chair, okay, any nominations for vice chair? I would nominate Greg.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions, am I supposed to go through all that? Abstentions,
Yes, I would say yes.
anyone against? Okay, and then secretary?
Yes, there you
Okay,
go.
there we go, I got one right. Nominations for secretary.
who would like to be?
Who would like? What does it entail?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same.
That's- Yeah, yeah.
Be a secretary or no?
No, the positions for the executive board,
Oh,
they're
okay.
limited to full members.
So just so I'm clarified, who's a full member? Because I get confused.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah.
good question.
Okay.
So our full members for inland wetlands are yourself, Patrick.
Yep.
Greg Johnston, Laura Ferguson, Nico Jordan, I believe, and the last seat
Kevin.
goes to Kevin
Haven't
Seaman.
seen.
Okay,
Okay. And then your alternates being Pat Selvin and Danielle.
okay,
So you have two full members that have already taken executive
so
member
it's basically
positions.
Nico or Laura,
Nico, Laura, or Kevin.
Kevin,
Well, even though he's not here to
okay,
really weigh in on that.
all right, so
I have a question.
Nico, yes, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what does it actually entail?
Uh,
Out of curiosity, even though I can't be that.
So the secretary position, that is a good question that you ask. It's kind of a backup to a backup. So in the event that the chairman or the vice chair aren't able to attend a meeting, the secretary would help to run the meeting or do whatever executive duties are necessary to keep things orderly and all that entails.
Do they also take the notes?
What's that?
Do they also put up the,
No, that's why
That
Mary
is,
keeps us
that
honest.
that is Mary's task for us. She is our recording
We
secretary.
have somebody much more efficient than us.
Yeah.
I take notes.
Can we nominate Kevin even though he's not here? Or would that be mean?
Yeah.
You really don't like Kevin, no, I'm kidding.
I don't know.
I would say.
That's how it used to be at Scouts and all the other
Yeah.
things. If you didn't show up, you got elected to a position.
I think we will gift him that. I'll nominate Kevin as secretary.
Okay,
Motion on the floor, we need a second.
I'll second it.
okay,
I hope
any
you-
other nominations? Okay, all those in favor of Kevin being secretary? Signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye. Any abstentions?
Nico, what say you?
Should I abstain? I don't know. I say aye as long as he's okay with it, I guess. I mean, can he resign and pass it off if he doesn't want it?
That's a good question. I will ask our the director of planning how that would be handled, but otherwise, what, worst case scenario, if Mr. Seaman decides to rescind his nomination. I'm not sure how that process would work. I've never had that circumstance come up before.
I would say I was secretary for 12 years and I think I signed
Either,
one
it
thing.
would either be Nico or Laura.
I wouldn't mind.
Okay, can we reopen it up then, or
There's Kevin.
Kevin?
You won, Kevin. You don't even know.
Kevin, do you want to be secretary?
Or I could
So,
just do
yeah.
one of these.
There you go.
I would
there's
rather
this-
have
this
you
rule.
be on this side so that you can be on
The camera, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
There's a rule when you're late to the meeting that you get
Oh,
elected
please
as
don't yell.
secretary.
No, you just got nominated to be the secretary.
Okay, so let's have a discussion here.
I think that's warranted.
Okay, basically you were nominated by Nico, so you could yell at him, to be secretary. Basically, that does not entail taking notes. That's why we have Mary. So question is that something you would be in favor of?
I don't mind.
Okay,
But what are the duties, I should ask?
So you would be the backup to both Pat, who has just been, as of a few minutes ago, elected as the chair. And then Greg, who has also just been elected as your vice chair. In the instance that either of those two are not able to attend a meeting, you would serve, to help administer the items on the agenda and anything else that would entail to keep a meeting.
Just help facilitate the meeting.
Exactly.
Go through? Okay,
Exactly.
that's easy enough. It's a reasonable request.
Okay, very good. So, did we vote on that motion, Pat?
we did, we were waiting for Nico's final
Okay,
yay, nay, or abstain.
Yeah, as long as Kevin's down with it, then I
I think I can handle that.
don't mind too, yeah.
Something before, but that's okay. No, I'm kidding.
No, that's okay.
okay,
All right, all
very good.
right, so we good with that?
Yes, I believe we are.
Awesome. All right, I believe next on the agenda is approval of minutes from November 22nd.
That's
Any-
correct.
Any discussion on those minutes?
I would say to the commission, these minutes they were filed as written. If you guys have any amendments to how they were written, I hope everybody got a chance to take a look at them. One comment that I would say would be Laura, Kevin and Nico, all three of you would have to abstain, even though you attended that meeting, Nico, you were not appointed to be a commissioner yet, and neither of you were in attendance. So the two folks that could vote in on that, and I suppose, I'm not sure how that would work. I think.
Do we have to wait till next meeting to vote?
No. You could seat one of the alternates. Pat, were you in attendance for that?
Yeah, that was a short meeting, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Really
it
short.
was.
All
Yes,
right,
it
can we-
was. So I would seat
Seat
Pat
Pat.
Sell,
Yeah.
to get these minutes.
All right, so I see her, she's seated for the whole meeting.
Well,
right?
she's seated just for the minutes.
Okay, so would you
I
like to
vote
be
yay, yes.
beautiful?
Okay.
Okay,
So, well, did we get a motion to accept the minutes as written?
okay, motion to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay.
Abstentions
Me.
and,
And Kevin
Thank
and
you.
Nico.
okay, and then,
The motion carries.
motion carries. Okay. All right,
I think you skipped the schedule, didn't you, Pat?
yep, that's where I'm going back to, but thank you. Don't worry, in about 5 weeks or 5 months, I'll get this down. And then
Yes.
Wetland Commission meeting schedule, I saw it posted online, I do not know if we have printed copies.
I certainly do.
Sure you would.
Getting back into my old habits now. Any of the commissioners can weigh in on this as this affects all of you. This meeting schedule has been based on a tried and true method of days that we observe or are cognizant of, one of them being Memorial Day, and another one's like Rosh Hashanah. Traditionally, we try to keep a summer recess in August. Thank you. So that's why you guys will see asterisks next to the date in August and the date in December, just because we try to respect people's commitments to holiday traveling give you guys some time off. So I can pull a calendar up really quick if you guys would like, just to take a look at when these dates fall. So everybody knows it's the fourth Monday of the month that we meet. So sometimes that means it's the last Monday of the month, sometimes it's the second to last. You know, if there's any tweaks that we need to make, now's the time to air those suggestions.
I'm fine with the schedule.
I'm fine with the schedule as well. All are Zoom, which is great in case I am traveling, because I also work remote. Are we gonna try to do in person as well?
So that's
As much as we can?
that's another thing you guys would have to discuss. For what I understand, the executive order that was issued by the governor still stands, where each commission, they have the discretion as to how they conduct their meetings, whether it's in person, it's remote, or it's in hybrid like we're doing tonight. My recommendation to you all would be is to keep your options open. I would hate for us to commit to something and then have it fall apart because the building's closed or something's been changed or something to that effect. So the hybrid works well when we're in here. There is going to be a meeting that's in the general purpose room that planning and zoning is hosting tomorrow night. So in the event that we have to go to a larger room, we would just amend, you know, the next agenda to say that's where we would be. But I would recommend you guys just tune into that if you can, to see how that works. So that way, regardless of whether you're attending in person or if you want to do it by Zoom, you have a scope for how that would work.
If it's in the GP room.
Exactly.
Okay.
The hybrid works really well in here. We have access to the webcam and the large monitor where we can see everything and everybody is able to follow along, I think, pretty easily with what we have. So that's my suggestion. At the very least, we do hybrid. I don't think the Zoom option is gonna go away.
No, I like this hybrid optionality, so that way you also have the opportunity to work in
Agreed.
person if you're available to, but given the way we all live our lives, it's not necessary. It makes it more reasonably accessible.
Yep.
So,
I'm in favor of hybrid as well. How does the rest of the commission? Hybrid?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, because then you have the option, so.
Yeah.
You know.
So that would be how we have every agenda headed. I don't know if everyone has a copy of how tonight's special meeting agenda was headed. I have copies in between Greg and Pat over there, but it would look something to the effect of, you know, municipal meeting in D, hosted by Zoom. So it's meant to say either or. And you guys, you know, as I mentioned, that's at your discretion to change however you see fit. Okay,
All right, so we gotta approve the
right.
schedule?
So you guys have to approve the dates that are on this draft meeting schedule.
Okay, so motion to approve the 2022 inland wetland schedule, meeting schedule.
I second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain? We're good?
I would say good,
Good.
motion carries.
Motion carries, great. All right, what do we got next here? We have an invoice from Connecticut Media for $164.70.
Yep.
Dave, what is that for?
So this is a legal notice and I should have taken the time to write what that legal notice was for. I think it was a decision that was rendered. It was either at the meeting in September or if we had a meeting in August. But this is how this works for the new members is whenever the commission has a public hearing or whenever a decision is rendered by you guys for a vote, when it comes to an application, it gets posted in the Danbury News Times. That's our local newspaper of circulation where we advise people as to whether things were approved or denied or withdrawn or approved with stipulations, so naturally, there's a fee that comes with us posting in the news times. Tonight's is rather light comparatively speaking. So if you guys see a future invoice where the number jumps up quite a bit compared to tonight, don't be alarmed. It's just par for the course. There's a balance between trying to say what you need to say in a legal notice and not have it be too lengthy. So you guys are more than welcome to look at that legal notice. In fact, I'll bring a sample in for you guys next time. But I would recommend the commission approve this invoice for payment.
You send PDF too, if that's easier, like if you have it accessible.
Yeah, this in fact, I scanned this and it's in the Google Drive for tonight.
Yeah.
But you're talking about for the legal notice.
Yeah, the
Absolutely.
legal, yeah,
Okay,
no reason, I don't mind. You can always shoot it in an email or something, I'd always take a look.
okay, cool.
All right, so we just need a motion.
Yep.
Make a motion.
Sure, I move that we accept and pay the invoice from the Danbury News Times
Second.
In the amount
in the amount
of,
of $164.70.
Okay, seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstain? Motion carries.
okay,
Okay, public hearings, there is none. Site plan reviews, I don't believe there are any. New application acceptances. We have Stony Hill Road, number 48 through 50. And I believe
And-
that's Mr. Olson.
yes, and I'm just gonna read what's on the agenda for you guys.
Okay,
Just so you have an idea for what the commission is accepting tonight. I paraphrased this from the materials you guys received. And I have hard copies if you guys want to peruse that, albeit they are limited, so I'm sure they get back to me if I look at them. They're also in the Google Drive for anyone out there in cyberspace if you want to look along. But the agenda, the acceptance, the paraphrase I got was construct 5 buildings, rain garden areas, parking areas, and associated site improvements within a 100-foot regulated upland review area. I'm gonna go a bit more in depth for this time around, because this is the first time you guys are seeing any of this. So how this process works is an applicant, when they want to conduct a regulated activity, that is one that's either within a wetlands area or one that's within 100 feet of a wetlands area, they have to submit an application. And this application usually entails material such as a survey, site plans, report from inland wetland scientist, drainage calculations, impact assessments, fee schedule, deep reporting forms, minutia like that. For what I gather, that the application appears to be substantially complete. So I would, I don't see anything that would prevent you guys from not being able to accept this tonight. But that being said, I think there are a couple things you should be mindful of in doing so. During the application phase, you guys will notice that in attendance tonight, we have some members of the applicant's team. They're just here to assess to see what you guys, what process you guys choose to process this application, whether it's a site plan review or a public hearing.
And Dave, just for clarity,
Yeah.
when we accept the application that night, we do not review it. You
That's-
don't review it till the following.
That's correct. Well, that's the soonest you can start.
Right, I want to make sure that timeline is set.
And is
Right.
there a set time frame?
Yes, that's a great question. So depending on which process you opt to review this application with, there are certain timers or clocks or whatever other parameter you want to describe it with that you, or time constraints that you have to work within.
Mhm.
If you opt to accept and process this, review this application via site plan review, you have 65 days from the date of acceptance, which would be tonight. So that usually leaves, 2 meetings, barring the extension, the applicant consenting to an extension to give you guys more time. With a public hearing, you have 65 days from the date of acceptance to open the public hearing. So that gives you, so that would give the commission more time to receive material, conduct a site walk, review the materials, what have you. And then once the public hearing is opened, you have, I believe, a period of 35 days to review the application, barring extension time that would again possibly be granted by the applicant. And then after that, after the public hearing is closed, you have a certain period of time to render your decision. So there are pros and cons that come with both for applications that the commission deems to be more straightforward. You may opt to go for the more simplified process, which would be the site plan review. For ones that are more involved, let me just accept this. There we go. For applications that you think there is a significant impact component to a regulated wetland area, or one that is of the public's interest, you may opt to go for a public hearing process. So I'm just showing you guys this application tonight. I'm not speaking on behalf of the applicant. It's more just to give you guys an idea for what you have before you and what process you guys should take. Did anyone get a chance to take a look at the Google Drive materials I posted?
Not Google Drive. I spent time doing some research on exactly what it is that I'll be responsible for looking at and doing. And I spent a lot of time with a friend of mine who's also a commissioner in Northern Kent
Okay.
to learn the procedures and processes that he's been responsible for.
Cool.
For the last 8 years, just kind of give me some insight on what we'll be doing. So it's
Okay.
kind of a step in the door. So I'm still on the learning.
Yeah, gotcha. So hopefully everything that I'll describe to you guys tonight will dovetail with what you've been told already. So not to get,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Is February 28th beyond 65 days?
Let's see, February 28th. I don't have a calculator in front of me.
It might be close.
What I'm gonna do here.
Because if today was December 24th, that would be 60, and then it's not December 24th, so it's.
It would have to
13,
almost be like the
16 days
19th
from
today, you're
today.
right, it's over.
Okay, so 65 days from today would be Wednesday, February 16th.
Right.
So if you guys opted to go for the site plan review, barring any extensions that the applicant were to consent to, that would be the period you guys would have to have your decision rendered by. And you guys, it's at your discretion as to how many meetings you have in that period of time. If you think just sticking to the meetings that are on that schedule, not to get too much into logistics, is enough. That's at your discretion. If you guys want to schedule special meetings like we have tonight, that's within your realm as well. So that it all depends on the materials that are being given to you and what you guys are comfortable with for processing it. But to get into the application itself, let's take a look here. Well, first I should probably share my screen. Hopefully this button does that. Okay. So what you're looking at here, this is the submission letter from the applicant, and this more or less entails the materials that they gave for you guys to review and associate with the acceptance tonight. As I mentioned, everything that you guys would need, it appears to be there. As of 3 o'clock this afternoon, we just got our impact assessment from the wetland scientists. Otherwise, I'm not sure how that would have worked. But this is your inland wetlands application here with the signatures. This is the form that lets you guys know what was submitted for tonight. This is the fee schedule, which got processed and has been paid. Depending on what process that we go through. There may be additional payment that needs to get submitted, but we'll get more into that later. The check for that, the letter of authorization. Why don't I just jump into the site plans here real quick? Which one is the site plan, guys? Here, help me out.
One that's blue, the one that's highlighted.
Is it where my cursor is?
Yes.
Oh, thank
No.
goodness.
No, no,
No,
no.
the one
No,
that-
Second to last.
2 down.
second from
This
the
one right
bottom.
here?
There you go.
That one, yep.
Okay, this looks like it's the survey.
Oh, it says,
I think
Survey
it-
map.
I think
Oh, it
it might be
is.
the one, yeah, it's this one.
So does everyone know where this property is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. Thank you
That
for
always
that
helps.
context. Pat. So this application that's that you guys would are in the position to possibly accept tonight is for 48-50 Stony Hill Road. It's that if you're at the intersection of where Old Hollyville meets Stony Hill Road and you take a left going towards Danbury, it's the property that looks like that has the appearance of what I would say is an abandoned parking lot.
Yeah.
Right where Copper Square.
The old Stony Hill Inn
Yes,
location.
exactly.
Where the
Exactly.
driving range.
You got it.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
we used to pull in for
right by
the.
the
Yep.
pond, before the pond on the right.
Right,
Exactly.
so let me just pull that up here on Google Maps so you guys can take a look at that here. Hopefully I typed that right, looks like I did. Please move this window area. I'm sure what that means.
I think everyone knows where it is.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So let's just get to the site plan here real quick. Oh, there we go. Okay. And just wanna make sure I'm on that screen. So I'm just gonna pop into this again. That's my font. Okay, so what's before you guys to accept tonight is a site plan to construct, as I mentioned, 5 buildings, rain garden areas, parking areas, and the associated improvements within a regulated upland review area. There is a wetland system that is off to this side of the property here. I can get my scroller to work.
Where's the main road there?
Stony Hill Road is down here.
On the bottom? Okay.
Yes, I believe that's where it is. There's a system that's here. And then there is this pond over here that you guys, I'm sure all can see when you drive past. Yes, that's exactly right. And the site plans, they show 5 buildings, 3 larger ones towards the back of the site, and 2 buildings here towards or abutting Stony Hill Road. The scope of what you guys would review for this is the activities that would either directly impact the regulated wetlands area, or ones that are within the regulated upland review area. Now, numbers for Mary, there's 1.50 acres of proposed impact within the upland review area. This property is, I think, roughly 6 acres. So it's not the whole site that you guys would be considering. It's just the portions that are the stormwater management system, the portions of the building, or the buildings that are within the 100-foot upland review area, and any other structures that fall within that space.
You say not the whole area, but you're including the whole parking lot.
Right, so
Yes.
this is something that the commission should consider, is where the stormwater that's getting managed is going to be discharged to. So I believe there's one component of the system that's over here. And then there are others that are, I believe, distributed throughout the site. And then I believe there's one that's over here in the vicinity of this building that's closest to the pond over there. One thing that the commission should consider as part of this application is that this is not crafted from scratch per se. This is a revision to an approval that the Wetlands Commission actually granted in, I would say, almost 8 years ago, if not 9 years ago. So this essentially is, for what I understand, it's an amendment to an existing approval. I don't have what those previous materials were yet. I would ask the applicant to consent those being admitted to the record, so you guys can have a comparison from what that was to what this is, because that's the most important part for you guys to consider, is what's different between what was approved back then and what is being presented before you
The
now.
last one was approved. It was.
Yeah.
That's correct, back in 2013.
Do
So
you know
this is-
why it never went through, or?
It's on the applicant, it's at the applicant's discretion as to whether or not the conditions are right for what they need to act upon the approvals they get from the land use commission. There was nothing from an administrative perspective, at least to my knowledge, that barred them from going forth the construction. That was just their choice not to act upon the approvals they got.
There could be a million. things.
Right,
A
exactly.
million things.
And I don't want to get into that right now.
That doesn't impact.
Exactly, it
Dave,
does.
was this a standalone permit, or was it included as part of the, what is it, copper
Copper
square?
The big
I-
area that
Was
went in.
this separate from that, or was this part of that permit? Do you recall?
It doesn't, I'm not
doesn't
sure,
matter.
I don't think it really makes a difference.
Okay.
Because all we're looking at really is the regulated activities that are on this piece,
Okay.
exactly.
All right.
That's one thing that I would, if should the commission opt to accept this application tonight, that would be one thing I would recommend that the commission consider, is to have some more information that compares what was
So what is?
what was approved
Okay.
to what this is. Does
So-
anyone have any questions?
So we're not accepting this as a new application, we're accepting it as a amendment.
Yeah, it's a modification to a previous
Okay.
approval.
So technically, if there were no alterations for anything that impacted our purposes here, there would be no reason not to push through, depending on what the modifications were.
Right, and so this is where you guys need to determine what those differences are and how they would affect the wetland systems that are on-site and off-site. I say off-site because you have the pond that's within
You're
100
draining
feet of
out
the
somewhere.
property line here.
I mean, being part of the original approval thing, I'm pretty sure there's different layouts there and stuff, so that I can see.
Okay,
The buildings themselves are totally different. So,
I have 2 questions.
yeah,
I don't know if it matters, but is this retail or condos?
that part really shouldn't make a difference. The part that makes a difference for you guys is the footprint of the structures and where they are in association to the upland review areas, the stormwater management systems, and how either of those things and any of the associated improvements would what their relation is to the wetlands that are on or off-site. When it comes into the minutia of how the space gets used, that's beyond our purview. That's for planning and zoning.
Can I ask something, David?
Yeah, Nico.
Can I chime in? So based on that, I thought that was a good question, based on the type of use of the property, then doesn't that determine like the effluent and the quality of the runoff and the
No,
stormwater,
I wouldn't
management.
say so, Nico. Because, regardless of, what the use is for the structure, I don't know if that would warrant the applicant, changing what they are presenting before you. All you're looking at is the footprint of the structures.
So are all stormwater management, techniques the same? Is there And what are those, I guess would be my next question.
So, that's another good question. I don't mean to.
No, I'm definitely going.
Yeah, so this is another element to what was submitted as part of your application materials. There's actually a whole document that goes into the stormwater management system
Yeah.
components and how they work. In this case, the applicant decided to share that information with you guys in the form of a drainage report, which I believe is this document here that I'm pulling up on my screen. This goes into the calculations that they've made for each component of the system, how they're meant to work. And then if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty, there's a whole bunch of numbers towards the latter sheets of this document that go into the engineering aspects of this. Because ultimately, when you guys go forth with reviewing this application, you will receive comments from our consulting engineer, Wright Pierce, and they weigh in with engineering and technical elements such as how a stormwater management system is sized, where it's placed, what its components are, things of that nature.
So if I can just add to Nico and Pat, I think what you're saying, I think it would affect the permit depending on what it was, not so much a permit, but the safeguards put in place. So, I mean, let's go extreme. If this was, I don't know, let's say it's residential or approved as residential on the previous permit, and now they're changing it to some, I don't know, oil refinery. Yeah, it will have to, he would have to have in this applications, I would assume, different safeguard to have the same final outcome, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So he would have it in the permit process, right? But we would have to be looking to make sure those safeguards are in place. If that kind of clarifies it a little bit.
And for what I understand, to expound upon that a bit more, Nico, the use that have been previously approved for this site, not that it really makes a difference to the commission, but it had a larger commercial component to it than what is before you guys, as part of this proposal. This proposal, the lion's share of the structures and the units that they would contain would be residential. Not that makes a difference for you guys.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
This may be obvious considering the location, but this is all city water processed, so we're not talking about a septic system, because that seems like.
No, so that is a good question. For what I understand, this property is connected to public water and public sewer. There are connections up along Route 6.
That's what I figured.
In the event that a property wasn't, those connections and where they were, that would be part of your scope of your review.
It would become
Because
drainage essentially, because they would have to compensate for that with the area.
I'm
that they're
sorry.
Using, right?
Yes.
It's, yeah, because it's not on public, they would have to compensate for that with their own kind of drainage into field use.
We would look
property.
at, we would
Yes.
look
Be a
at
part
the
of it.
septic system
Yeah.
only to how far it is away from
Away from the
not
wetlands,
so
not
much
so
the
much.
septic viability, but how it would affect the
Right.
course or the
Right.
wetlands.
True.
Yeah.
Do we also look into the type of soil in the property itself, because that will differentiate how much based on elevation change and seepability
Well,
into wetlands?
Well, I have to keep me honest, Dave, the applicant will have that on his map. They'll have the wetlands flagged already by a soil scientist. Certain applications, we may deem we want another person to flag them. And we also have at our disposal, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of our engineers, and soil scientists as well. You'll see that on like larger applications, we pull them in because we're not that knowledgeable on it. We'll have a basically a third party to do it.
Okay, just kidding, thank you.
I'm sorry, you had a question?
Yeah, I think it's just an observation that they're talking about rain garden areas here, so they've already had a discussion about runoff because they put rain gardens in. So if we look at the old plans, it would be interesting to see where these gardens are, because they're that's runoff water for a rain garden, and I wonder if it's near the pond, so. just
Right, so
Curious
that would be a question that you could present to the applicant during whichever review process you guys
Okay,
ultimately opt to use for this application. To get back to ultimately where we're looking to go, you have to decide based on the materials that have been given to you to accept. Warrant you guys choosing a site plan review process or going for a public hearing process. One is a bit more intensive and has more involvement. That's the public hearing process. The other process, which is your site plan review, it's meant to expedite permits where there is not as much concern amongst the commission that what the applicant is proposing would present any adverse impacts to wetlands.
So do we accept it first and then decide if we do a public hearing, or do we?
I would say, yes, you should decide to accept the application first.
Okay.
And then you would decide which process you want to use.
Okay,
I'm confused. What, we have to choose one or the other?
Correct.
Can't
usually,
do a site walk and have a public hearing?
Oh, no, so the sidewalk is separate.
Oh,
so you
okay,
can-
so
so you
it
can-
sound like one or the other, site
So-
walk or public.
you can have
No,
both,
no,
or
so-
one, or,
Oh, okay.
So a site plan review and a site walk are not the same. You can do a site walk regardless of which process you choose to
Okay,
take.
okay.
In fact, that would be the next thing I'm glad you mentioned, that I was going to bring up, is that I would recommend, regardless of which option you guys choose, to conduct a site walk. So you guys can familiarize yourself with the property, and I can go into more of what that entails, but I would not shy you away from doing that. I think it's a good decision for the commission to do that.
all right, so why don't we take it step by step?
Yes.
So, what are thoughts on accepting the application?
I move that we accept the application for Stonyville Road 4850 for review.
I second that.
Second.
Okay. Nico seconded.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstain? Motion
Now you
carries.
guys have to decide which process you want to use,
And by process, you're saying,
site plan review or public
all
hearing.
right, and this is where I'm gonna go with Pat's question. Why can't we, what's the difference? Site plan review is reviewed by,
So
can you have both?
So for your site plan review process, you would still have your engineering response comments. You would still have my comments.
Mhm.
You would still have any other
Right.
professional comments that you would otherwise get in.
As
a
as
public
we
hearing.
would with a public hearing as
Right.
well.
For a public hearing process, part of your criteria to go to that process is triggered by whether or not there's one of three conditions at the very minimum.
Okay.
One of which is if you have 25 members of the public come in and sign a petition that says, hey, we're aware that you guys are submitting this application. We
Correct.
want you guys to go to a public hearing. The second is if you guys, in reviewing these materials, determine that there is a significant impact to a regulated wetlands area that's associated with what's proposed.
Okay,
The third is if you guys deem that this application is in the public's interest.
Okay.
The triggers for that can be as broad as, oh, this is a property that's highly visible. This is one that there's going to be a lot of questions by the public, or there may be a lot of questions by the public. I don't want to suggest what the public interest might be, but that's for you guys to decide whether or not that exists.
but you could do a public hearing and you still get a site plan review of that from the engineers, correct?
Yes, oh, yeah.
That's where I was getting
Yeah.
confused, okay. So, thoughts on public hearing?
I'd motion for a public hearing.
Yeah, I think a lot of, I work at Maplewood
Mhm.
and I started working there when
Hmm.
that, right from the get-go. So I saw everything come down and everything go up.
Yep.
And you can't believe how many people love that pond. So I would go for a public hearing to protect the pond,
Okay,
you know, because I don't know how close this is to the pond.
Well, now, here's the important question. Are you going that route on the basis of you think there's a significant impact to the pond itself?
Well, I'm not
Or do you-
clear if there's gonna be impact to the pond.
Well, this is, you guys, this is what I'm saying. You have to have, based
So-
on the information that the applicant presents, you have to have, that information has to be evident
Oh, okay.
for you guys
Before
to-
you
to,
request public interaction or?
no, for
Interaction.
you guys to go with determining if there's a significant impact, you have to have information in the application that suggests that.
well,
Okay.
I would and I'll be honest, I'm always for a public hearing. I always love public input. I don't care how big it is,
Yeah, I
so,
agree.
but this is on Route 7, high visibility,
So
piece of property with valuable wetlands around it, Route 6, thank you.
Yes, yes.
With valuable property or wetlands around it. So yes, I agree, we should do a public hearing.
Yeah,
So,
it
so
doesn't
I,
get much
so
more
I would
visible.
say, if you guys don't find the determination for there being a significant impact, that you guys would move for this being accepted with the public hearing process using the criteria of public interest.
Public interest, yes,
Is that what you guys are? Is that the consensus here?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
yes, but I do have a question,
Yeah,
and how will we know if there's public, public, how would we know if there's significant impact to a wetland before we actually see the permit itself?
so this is what I'm.
So we would have to dig deeper into it, we
You
thought.
would have to look at it.
So
Which
this
we
is-
don't have to because we have the public part of it.
So this is what I'm showing you guys
Right.
tonight. So this is part of what I'm trying to explain to you is that there is a wetland system
Right.
that bounds this property line here. Actually, let me get my.
So there is a
Okay,
possibility.
are you seeing my screen right now, Nico?
Can you show it to me? No, I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me pull it up here.
Do you guys have this information, the application, like is it all printed out in front of you all or?
No, we're looking at the TV screen.
Oh,
And it's.
Can you
very
see it
small.
now, Nico?
oh, yeah, now I can.
Okay, good, good.
I'm sorry.
It's
No,
just-
you're
it's
fine. I
very
just don't
small.
wanna.
Yeah, so I'm gonna zoom in here.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
It's better.
That's very helpful.
But,
Uh,
and it's just a general question, Dave.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at this, there's a possibility that would have an impact on these things. Without digging into it greatly, you don't know. So,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
need to study
for this instance, we definitely want the public hearing because of public interest.
I would almost
Well, for
say,
future.
if you're talking about a significant impact, it has to be pretty obvious.
Okay, right.
I would say in this instance, with the pretense that this application has already been reviewed
right,
by the Inland Wetlands Commission 8 years
Okay.
ago, all you're looking to do is modify the approval.
okay,
So the commission already looked at the possible impacts, before, and if you could look at
Right.
the assessment document from the wetland scientist, which, as I mentioned, just got submitted today.
Yep.
I think I may have a few copies of that floating around if you guys want to take a look at that.
is that online?
It is not online yet because as I mentioned, I just got this afternoon. Well, in fact, why don't you guys take a look at that? I should have figured that. Okay. Hopefully I have enough copies.
I'm good. It's right. I'll look at it online. I have a pretty good idea what's in it.
Okay.
The Google Drive. I don't have the Google Drive information.
Okay, so for the Google Drive, that gets posted in the meeting agenda. So,
Yeah, I must have missed that. I apologize.
No, that- that's
It's got-
okay.
You gotta scroll down a little. I did the same thing. You gotta scroll down a little, you'll hit it.
Okay, I'll take a look. I'll find it.
Hey, Dave,
Yeah,
what's the scale? Can you show us the scale on this site plan here?
the scale, I believe, is 30 scale for all those site plan sheets.
Okay,
And I will scroll over to the right to confirm that. It should be, well, it would be right where
Yeah, 30.
Okay,
Of course, that's without it being zoomed.
1 inch is 30 feet.
yes, that's, you know, the scale.
Oh, there's, got it, a 100 foot
Right now,
upland
the
review.
screen, it wouldn't work, but as per the submitted drawings, the hard copies show 1 inch to 30 feet.
Got
All
it.
right, so we're gonna move forward with a public hearing on this based on the public interest. Okay, so we have to decide on a date before we.
Well, first I would get a motion.
First, you do the motion. Okay, I make a motion that we schedule a public hearing for 48 to 50 Stony Hill Road.
Second.
Second. Third.
I'm not opposed to that.
Okay,
I just have limited exposure, so it's difficult to. It would be difficult for me to just approve something anyways at this point
Right.
without, so
approving
public
that we're gonna
interaction
do
would be of assistance to begin with.
Yep.
It's just. The scope of public interaction right now is specifically isolated on the wetland portion
yes.
of what we're looking at, so.
Wetland can only address
Only
wetland
address
issues,
wetland.
yes,
Correct,
yes.
because this application is also going before planning and zoning for their parameters for review.
Yep.
I mean, I would move towards public clearing. I definitely just want to look at the differences between the two different site plans as well as.
Mm.
What's going to occur with the drainage that they're proposing, where that drainage is gonna end.
Absolutely.
because
And that'd be within.
That can be of public interest.
Yes, you-
Could be, it could be, I don't know.
if you guys are of that sentiment, if you guys want to go for the public interest process.
Yep.
I think we have a motion for that. Did we get a second?
We did.
We did. All those in favor? Aye. All those abstaining? The motion carries.
Okay, so,
Now you have to set his date.
correct, and we also, as I mentioned earlier, that the commission should schedule a site walk. I would recommend that you have the site walk, that you conduct it before the public hearing
Okay.
starts. But not too far in advance, so that way you guys aren't able to recall what you see when
Do
you
you
start.
need
the-
a motion for that as well?
I would say yes.
Okay, I make a motion that we do a site walk at 48 to 50 Stony Hill Road.
And for what date before we
We need a
discuss?
date.
Oh.
So,
After the holidays, probably.
Okay,
Well, it needs to be approved by
January 24th.
January 24th, correct?
no,
No.
that date is, that date.
No,
January
no,
28th,
no,
or-
yeah, it's 5 days,
Yep.
got it,
So we have 65 days to open this,
it's open.
up to 65 days.
okay.
I wouldn't recommend you guys wait that long, because there's nothing else on the
We
agenda.
also don't know what's gonna compile in that time, you don't want to stack yourself for it, you don't know what's gonna be.
Right.
After
So-
the holidays, please, I don't return until January 1st.
Okay, so January 24th will be the next meeting where this is discussed and have the public hearing.
That's when this public hearing
So
will,
you want to do it pretty close to January 24th.
I would agree.
Okay, I don't have a calendar in front of me and I don't know everyone's schedules here. What's better is that if you're doing nighttime, it's gonna be dark. So it would have to, I would think would have to be Saturday or something,
I would agree.
I can do the weekend before, that's fine.
okay? Which is,
Saturdays,
What-
The 22nd.
historically. have
I'll
been
be
good,
here.
right?
Saturday is the 22nd of January.
okay. Does January 22nd work for everybody?
I have to work that day
Okay.
from 7:30 to 4:30.
Okay,
It'll be dark.
I'll be working.
I work every other
Okay.
Saturday.
I would,
want to do it the week before that?
yeah,
In case it snows?
right, as a
Okay.
counter to waiting until the very last weekend
Right.
before you have the meeting. You always want to have a weekend as a fail-safe in the instance that something comes up.
15th.
Thank you.
So that would be my suggestion,
All right, so does the 15th work?
the 15th,
Sure.
okay, and then at what time?
Laura, does the 15th work better for you?
Yeah, I'm off that day. I'll make sure to not book my outside job too.
No problem.
So would you guys prefer morning, afternoon?
About 10 AM, is that good?
That works for me.
Does that work?
Sure.
10 a.m.
I can do that, I'm fairly flexible.
Okay. So we'll schedule a site walk for Saturday, January 15th at 10 a.m.
And we need a second for that?
I'll second that.
10 AM.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain? Beautiful,
Now
motion
should-
carries.
I guess we'll meet there.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, we would meet there.
Yep.
Really pulling in my calendar.
Can I ask a question, David, or everybody?
Yes, Nico.
So can we only do one site walk? And do we have to
No.
schedule it like now together, or can we go on our own? What's the protocols for site walks?
So obviously, you would want the applicants, you want the applicants' awareness that you guys are going out to the property.
Right.
And I would recommend you just going there randomly and unannounced.
Right.
When the commission goes as a group, you have to have it as, it has to be a meeting, it has to.
you have to call the meeting to order.
Right, because it's whenever you have 3 or more commissioners in one place at the same time, it's considered a quorum.
Hmm.
So there has to be an agenda that gets posted, even though it's just a site walk.
I've done it on my own when I couldn't be out there at the same time. You get a lot more information when you're together as a group and the applicants there explaining where everything is and everything.
Right, and that is the purpose of a site walk. It is for locational and observational purposes only. So
Right.
we're not going out there asking technical questions. We're not having anyone's reports in hand, trying to figure out what's where and why this is sized this way, or what's that effect, blah, blah, blah. You're just going out there and saying, oh, this is where the footprint of this building is. This is where the manhole cover for that is.
This is where the border of the wetlands.
Exactly, exactly.
What flag number is what?
Exactly.
Okay, so site walk schedule,
Yes, and now as part of that site walk, what would you guys like to have identified and staked when you go out there?
The rain gardens. I don't know.
We got more than one voice going on at the same time.
so we got rain gardens
The
and
rain gardens.
Perimeter of the wetlands, I would think.
Okay, so one of the wetlands, it may already be flagged. I have to look into that.
make sure the flags are current.
Right, so that may already be there. One thing that I would suggest to the commission is you would want to be mindful of where your stormwater management system
That's
components
exactly what I
are.
was asked.
Right.
Right,
Oh, and
and the most important thing would be to figure out where they discharge.
drainage proposals,
Right,
Can you pull the map up again?
can we look at the map
They'll have
and,
it there.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Beforehand, to make more specific proposals if necessary.
You would want to do it now to give them time. So
Yeah.
That's why I asked to
Okay.
see the map.
okay,
Do we need to?
And can you zoom in that, like lower? everything?
I gotta find my mouse.
Okay,
In the middle. no,
Because
it's not
discharge
at the bottom.
locations are great, but not if you don't know the run route for the discharge.
Yep.
Because elevation matters.
Yes, it does. I
So-
mean, you're going to have an engineer weigh in on these
Dave,
components too, right?
if we could,
It's fairly flat there.
Yeah. if we could mark, and I'm trying to see, the rain gardens over bottom right corner? Is that what a rain garden is?
No, this looks like a catch basin over there.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's-
where's the
that's-
wetlands on here?
So the wetlands, they roughly border
The property line.
the easternmost property.
So
line
if
there.
we could mark the corner of one of those buildings,
Okay,
so we can see it in relation to the wetlands.
sure.
That's a good idea.
So there appear to be 2 structures here on this side of the property. When you're talking about staking corners, do you want all 4 or however many there are? Do you want the ones that are closest to the wetlands or?
It's not gonna take them that long to do all 4. 'Cause if you do all 4, on the backside, it'll at least give you reference points
Yep.
when
So
you're
you-
working in both
Do all
directions.
4,
So you're talking about,
4 corners.
so, well, this building has more than 4, that's why. So,
It only, the line
back,
of border lines,
2
the back of
corners.
it.
Yes.
so like where my cursor is
Yes.
here.
Yep.
And then this one over here,
Yes, please.
okay? And then you would want the same for this building here,
Yep.
these 2 closest.
Yep.
Okay,
And then let's go look over to the pond area.
Okay.
Over to the left there somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
I'm trying.
I know. it's
Are there
hard to-
parking lots all around
That's
these
all.
buildings as well?
the whole thing.
I'm sorry, Nico?
Are there parking lots around all these buildings in the back of them as well? Like
Yes, but remember, if it's outside of the 100-foot upland review area, all you're really concerned about is if there's stormwater that gets conveyed from that,
Right.
where is it going?
No, I'm concerned that there's parking areas well within the 100-foot
Yep.
upland review area between the ditch on the northeast side and the buildings.
Oh, okay, so I think to expound upon what Nico is asking, if you want the corners of those areas staked, you would request that as well.
Like it looks like the parking lots might go right up to the wetland, is what I'm seeing on this map. Possibly question.
No, you're right.
So do we want those, do
No,
we want
within
the edge of this, of that parking area staked as well?
Absolutely, I would like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
very smart, because that's gonna give you a relative line visually.
Okay.
Okay, and what's our interval for our stakes here? Because we don't have the corners like we do for the buildings to kind of,
Well, it's pretty a straight line.
mhm.
I would say the point that it's closest there,
Okay, I'm not sure where that is.
it's good. It's about almost in the middle, two things up.
Okay, so somewhere ultimately in this area, right?
Lower.
Lower,
Right there.
here?
No, a little lower. There. Oh, you got it. That looks like the parking lot comes right.
Oh, I see.
Well, now this line here that has the,
No, I'm looking at the solid black line.
okay, got it.
And then every 50 feet or so, you don't have to,
Yeah, you don't gotta go, but you gotta be able to see the next thing.
right.
Right,
Trail running, very easy to lose stakes.
okay, so we want this parking area delineated along the, where it's closest to the regulated wetlands area, every 50 feet.
About every, yeah.
Okay,
And then
anything else, Nico?
well, yeah, I guess just reading the map. I mean, I have more practice to do with reading the site plan. I'm just getting through all the material that you sent
Yeah.
out. But are these the drains and then the black dotted line, the pipes, underground pipes?
Yeah,
Yes.
so I believe the sheet I have up without being able to read, yeah, it's a site plan, grading and utilities. So this sheet in the site plan and other sheets like it for other applications, they show you where your underground systems are, i.e. your stormwater management, your your lines for public water and public sewer, utilities, what have you. And then they would show if the site has to be regraded, if you're doing filling or excavation activities, there are contour lines that show you where they would dig or add material.
Okay, so these are all leading
Just for
to this.
knowledge, every contour line is how many feet?
I think for the
This-
purposes of this site plan, I think they're every 2 feet, but I could.
Yeah, so just when you're looking at a site plan, if you see a lot of contour lines, it's steep. And if you see like very spaced out, it's not steep.
Right.
So did we find the pond on the left?
Yeah,
It's
so
right there.
the pond system, I believe it's grayed out, but it's behind all of these call outs over here on the left hand side of the screen where my cursor is.
Okay,
At least I think that's where it is. I hope I'm in the ballpark.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
I think the outlet is that the structure you're right
This is
near.
what you're looking at.
oh yeah, I think I
Yes.
did right
The
there.
Yep.
drainage structure was a V.
Okay.
So
So
it
this is the closest component for just looking at this, off the cuff that appears to be in vicinity to that pond there. So is this something that you guys would want staked out or?
I mean, I'll know the pond when you get to the pond. We wanna stick out where the drainage dumps. in
That's what it is.
Yeah,
relation to
it
the pond.
it looks like they're
I-
making another pond on the east side. Is that right? That basin?
So
Where-
it's not a pond in the definition or in the scope that it's meant to be natural.
Hmm.
This would be a man-made component of the stormwater management system. I believe the words that they use to define it, it's either a detention or a retention basin. I don't want to get into the specifics for
Would
how
that
that
be in the plan,
functions.
right? Isn't that in the
Yes.
plan?
Right,
Yeah, I plan on looking at that anyway.
Yeah.
Just to make sure it's.
yeah,
Okay.
okay,
I would just keep in mind the applicant and usually, I'm gonna call it the engineer, it's usually on site. Or the lawyer and the engineer is usually on site to be able to answer questions.
right,
or
so
something.
this would be the last thing that you guys would want to request as part of your site walk is who from the applicant's team would be there to guide you as to what is where on the site. And then for observational purposes, give you some context as to describe visually what they wrote in their report.
Very helpful.
So would you want their engineer out there? Would you want their landscape architect out there? Who do you guys have in mind?
The engineer would be able to provide probably more information on how it's gonna operate the
Well,
system
now-
itself.
If you're just talking about locational stuff for the site walk.
Mm.
You're not going out there to discuss technical stuff.
Yeah, well, they would know where everything is.
Right,
Yes.
yes, they
Yes.
would.
And I landscaping, I don't think we need out there. Unless, I mean, they're welcome to be, but I don't think we need them out there.
Okay.
That's pretty defined by the plan. You know, I mean, it's a parking lot right now, so,
So
It's
I
literally
would,
just a big parking lot. with
So-
a couple buildings on it.
yes.
This is outside of my scope,
Yep.
but to speak to what you're saying, landscaping would definitely have an impact on rain uptake and impact to drainage
Yep.
and impact to the quality of the water in the wetlands.
Yep.
So help me understand why you feel like it's not necessary to have them there so that I can.
And you may feel it is necessary, that's fine. I just feel I can tell it by the plan.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
like if I have the landscape architect out there and they say, hey, we're putting a such and such bush here, that means absolutely nothing. You know, I actually have to look at the plan for me. I can see the row of trees and how it's, you know, I can see that.
Right.
You may feel more comfortable having the landscape architect out there. If this was a application where there was a lot of landscaping going on, then I might say, yeah, I need them out there to explain exactly the buffer between this and this, but for me, I don't need it, but if you want it,
No, I
absolutely.
defer.
Yeah.
This is all new to me, so I'm
Yeah.
trying to understand why
So,
you're making your
A
decisions.
lot of times when we go on the sidewalks, we get a general idea of
Yeah.
where everything is. And you can almost see the plan in your head and then
Mhm.
relate it to the actual area. And then your landscaper will come to, or will speak at one of the meetings.
Yeah.
And we'll have the plan up in front of us, but we remember where in
Yes,
the plan. So, I mean, but it, you know, if you're comfortable with, you know, more comfortable with that. the
A lot of
first time
times they-
having it,
A lot of times in the
That's fine,
plans, they have
yeah.
pictures.
I'm gonna defer to people with
Yep.
more
Alright.
experience than me at this point so that I can, I'm
Okay.
just trying to understand why.
Yeah,
you're
they
making the
do
decisions.
typically at one of the meetings, you know, after we've done our site walk, they'll tell us, we're gonna plant these here. That helps with this and, you know,
Great,
and they name off a lot of plants that I don't know what
that
they
you never
are.
heard of. before.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Cause they use
Yeah.
technical terms, and you're like,
The
Yeah.
scientific names.
See, like that retention pond, I would be curious and Ms. Olson or you know, his team will have that information on what they're lining that detention, like grass, what type of grass, you know, and they'll be able to say, oh, it's a wetland grass or it's this and this is how it's maintained. So they'll be able to answer my questions there.
Thank you for the
So-
clarification. I
No
appreciate it.
problem.
One other-
So, go ahead.
One other thing which sounds kind of goofy, but all the kids ride their bikes in there. So so I'm wondering if this, I don't know if he wants to put all these markers in too early, because I wonder if the kids will use it as an obstacle course. I mean, they're from Copper Square, they come in and they ride all around, so just a point.
I would hope not. Of course, with any site, you know, especially in this case, with it having already been disturbed. You know, you can invite any kind of, you know, activity to take place out there. I would like to be an optimist and hope that wouldn't happen and have some kid be mischievous and pull out all the stakes, but you know, if that happens between now and, you know, when we're out there, you know, I would just advise to the applicant, hey, you guys gotta put those things back so we can know where that is.
Okay. Responsibility.
So I think to just try to get ourselves back on track, we want the applicant's engineer
Yep.
to be with us.
Yes,
please.
Okay.
yes.
Okay, at the very least.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So I will forward your guys' requests to them, them being the applicant's team. If they have any feedback, in terms of going for another date or another time, or have another expert there to guide you through with where things are location wise, I will let you know. Please keep an eye on the emails, especially in the week or two after the holidays, for any updates from me on that. So that way no one has to miss the site walk. I would do the same for inclement weather too. I try to be cognizant of what the National Weather Service comes out. If there's been tell me it's a foot of snow coming along, obviously we're not gonna be there. But if it's like 30, 40 degrees and it's cloudy and kind of light mist,
Suck it up, suck it up.
exactly.
I suffered through a lot worse than that. Let's
Okay.
put it that way.
Okay,
A lot worse than that.
okay,
It's usually bad weather to also
Yeah,
large site
that
walks,
grew up
so-
here. It's New England, wait 5 minutes.
okay, cool.
So that takes care of this application now,
Yes, we have accepted the application
site walk and public hearing,
and on the basis of public interest.
basis in public interest.
Okay,
Absolutely. Okay. Any more comments on this application?
I'm sorry, do we have a public hearing date or we didn't talk about that?
Public hearing will be January 24th, unless you feel you need
Oh,
a
okay.
special meeting for that.
Oh, I didn't, okay,
I
thank you.
I don't think we do.
no, I would
Yeah.
agree, January 24th is a perfectly suitable date to open the public hearing.
Okay,
Okay, new business, I don't believe there is any. Okay, old business, I don't believe there's any there that hasn't been discussed, and dates, your comments?
Yes, now that we've gone through the heavy part of the meeting, I apologize if you guys having to kind of get thrown into the fire with that, but I welcome you and Nico as well out there in cyberspace as members of the Inland Wetlands Commission for our returning members, and especially those that have been appointed to or voted into our executive board. My congratulations.
Thank you.
Look forward to working with all three of you, and if you guys have any questions through whatever we have that comes before us, I will help you out in whatever way I can. But to get to my comments, which I'm hoping I left somewhere convenient for me to get my paws on.
Hey, while you're looking for that, do you have everyone's email?
Yes, that actually is a part of what I was going to get to.
I know you got
So
mine.
I'm hopeful that everyone has been keeping tabs with the bombardment of emails I've sent you guys. I apologize for that. But hopefully that address that I have for all of you guys is the best. If it's not, or if there's another method that you guys would prefer for me to give materials to, drop off hard copies in the mailbox or leave it outside, we have a Dropbox that way, just let me know. The same goes with phone numbers. In the instance that like we're out at this site walk in however many weeks and I'm not able to find you guys on site, or if you have a question for me, it's good to have your cell phone numbers so we can just call and text on fly. So I don't think I have those for you,
Happy to provide that.
Nico,
Mine should be in
and
there.
yours.
And mine's in the email. If you need it, I'll give it to you.
Oh, okay.
individually as well.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have it get put on the meeting just for privacy. Yeah,
I know.
So afterwards, if you guys have anything that you would prefer for lines of communication, we'll get to that, but I have a little spreadsheet for that anyways. The other item that I had on for you guys tonight is we were supposed to have a presentation from our peer review soil scientist, Cynthia Rabinowitz. She's with the North Conservation District. Unfortunately, she had a medical emergency in the family that came up a few days after the holidays. So, and that just pushed her professional work schedule back a week or two. And for her to try to get ready for tonight's meeting, it just would have been a disservice to you guys because she
To
wouldn't have
reschedule
been ready. So I had suggested to her, it's unfortunate that we'll have a public hearing to work around also that night. But I think for you guys, getting up to speed, having her present to you guys sooner rather than later is of your best interests. So she would be at the meeting on the 24th. Now, I know I gave out a lot of material, but I did that because all of that is what you can use to ask questions for when she's here, or for topics that you can present as part of what she prepares for you guys. So I don't want to put you on the spot tonight if there's anything in particular you have in mind, but between now and let's say the few days before the holidays, if there's anything that does come to mind that you do want her to talk about, please let me know, because I want to give her as much time as she can to make sure she's good for you guys. What other notes did I have for you? Oh, yes, well, to speak to those educational materials. I didn't realize how difficult it would be for some folks to get their paws on a DVD player. I wish I had a medium that was a bit more current for you guys to use. The reason why I stuck with that for the first DVD was because there is an interactive component to it. And I think just having those mini quizzes while you guys are watching the DVD, just to make sure you're keeping up with the material you're watching. If you were to try to put that in on YouTube, you'd lose it. And I think it's just good to preserve that format. So hopefully everybody got the DVD in their mailbox that random day before Thanksgiving.
Just another DVD player.
Well,
I will say, I watched about 20 minutes of it. I actually like that video.
okay,
I watched most of it too.
That's
very
yeah.
good.
that's
It seemed
great.
very, it actually, I was confused on some things and it answered the questions for me.
Yeah.
Right
I'm
off
gonna
the bat,
watch it-
so-
I'm gonna watch it again, so.
I'll be
Great.
honest, when I first got it, I was like, oh, great. But it's actually not bad once you start
No,
watching it.
it's
It's done very well.
interesting.
Great, and the video that's on YouTube is a supplement to that video, so it's like part 2, if you will.
Okay.
So if you have time to watch that as well, highly recommend it, because that gets into your questions of like how to read site plans. What you're looking for when an applicant submits materials, things like that. So I could try to explain them, but we are running this meeting at night, and I try to be cognizant of everybody's time. And also, there are experts that can probably speak to material that I would otherwise describe to you much better than I can. So I think it's good that you guys, if you have the time to go through those and the attachments that I gave to you, whether they're just our application templates or any other things that go into how like wetlands work or low impact development, all good things, so that when we start going through applications, besides this one that you guys have said tonight, you're prepared and that you know what you should be mindful of when you're being presented something. Other than that, I wish everyone a happy and safe holiday season. I'm looking forward to working with all of you guys, and I hope you all stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you all on our sidewalk on the 15th. While you guys go through your commission comments, Pat, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. So,
Okay, do the commissioners have any comments? Questions?
Not yet, but I'm sure I will eventually.
That's right, that's why we're
Yep,
here, so.
Sure I will
You
eventually.
can tell we like to talk, so. So, just want to welcome all the new commission members too. Thank you for your time and commitment to this. Dave, you're all set?
yeah, I'm all set.
Okay, no public comments, make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I
Second that.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, David.